Do your Dutch pours look beautiful but slightly out of control? If so, this technique might change everything. In today's acrylic pour painting tutorial, I'm showing you how to layer colors and build a Dutch pour composition with intention. Instead of creating one continuous line of veins and blowing everything at once, I separated each vein. I let one section develop fully before moving to the next. This approach gives you far more visual control. You can adjust spacing, protect negative space, and make compositional decisions as you go instead of hoping everything flows in the right direction. Welcome back to Tassi and Vanessa, and today I'm walking you step by step through how I build my layers on this Dutch pour with depth, movement, and balance. If you want more control over your compositions while still keeping that soft, flowing energy, let's get started. I'm working with all semi-transparent and transparent colors today to create depth. Let me introduce you to my first color. From Liquitex Basics, this is Ultramarine Blue, a warm, deep blue that adds rich shadows and soft blends. This is a semi-transparent color. Also from Liquitex, this is Queen Magenta, another semi-transparent color, a vibrant high-tint pink that creates glowing blends without overpowering lighter tones. Next is Amsterdam Phthalo Blue, a very intense, transparent, cool high-tint blue that creates bold contrast with just a small amount. Then I have Arteza Pearl Amethyst Purple, a semi-transparent metallic violet that adds a soft shimmer. I'm adding it for highlights. Coming up next is Amsterdam Primary Cyan, a transparent, high chroma cool blue that creates light when layered over lighter tones. And this last beauty is Golden Interference Violet, a translucent light-shifting pigment that creates a subtle violet sheen over dark areas. It looks white in the cup, but against a dark background it shines violet. My base is Liquitex Prussian Blue. This is an opaque color, not to be confused with Amsterdam Prussian Blue, which is transparent. I chose a deep moody blue with strong coverage, which is why I'm using it for my base. On top of colors, it tends to cover them and make them dull, so I'm being intentional about where it sits. So these are all my colors, and I've walked you through my thinking process when choosing them for this acrylic pour painting. But before we start, I want to show you something. Quick break from today's Dutch pour tutorial. For those of you who watched my latest video, I painted over both of my Dutch pours. I chose roses because they are powerful symbols in art. They embody strength wrapped in softness. There were a lot of dark spaces in that pour, and roses are resilient but delicate. They have the softest petals, yet their stems have thorns. I wanted to interpret that paradox with this painting. And here's a tip. Whenever you paint on top of your pours, add a stencil or embellish your fluid art in any way, try to incorporate the colors of your background. That's what I did here. By doing so, your piece feels cohesive and intentional. I used color shifting and metallic paints in the Dutch pour background, so I used the same tones in the roses. When you walk by these pieces, the colors shift together. It feels like one unified work rather than something placed on top. I thought some of you might benefit from that. I know many artists love to embellish their pours in creative ways. Now, back to today's tutorial. A big shout out to one of my lovely subscribers, Kate Williams 9241, for suggesting the topic of color layering. I hope you like this one. This is a 20 by 24 inch canvas level 2 from Artist Loft, and I poured about 20 ounces of paint. Here is a good visual of how the paint is flowing. I don't use a very thin consistency. I've discovered that a 1-second trace consistency works best for me and gives me the look I love. If you need help understanding paint consistency in fluid art, I have a mini tutorial on that. I'll link it at the end of this video. I want enough paint on my canvas so their color can flow, but not so much that I risk cracking. I prefer spreading my best paint with tape around the edges rather than blow drying the base or using a spreader. Because my paint is on the thicker side, those methods would not give me an even surface. Using them could cause the paint to dry unevenly. I couldn't decide on a composition, so I thought, let me start with one corner and see what happens. It was also a great opportunity to see if I like the layering. I always use the attachment on my blow dryer with cool air on high speed. Low speed with this recipe will not move the paint enough and you'll end up with a blob. I turn the blow dryer away from the paint and start blowing from a distance until I see how the colors are moving. It gives me better control of the flow. I love that first blowout, so I decided to change the layering of the colors to see what I would get. I reversed the order. Since the first one was a narrower blow, I made the second layout thicker to create more balance. Then I started playing, as you will see in the last two blowouts, laying colors outside the lines, creating zigzag movements, letting paint drip along the sides. It was all about having fun. That hold the world in their flutter, the world in their flutter. To
That hold the world in their flutter, the world in their flutter. Heavy are the eyelids that hold the world in their flutter, the world in their flutter. Heavy are the eyelids that hold the world in their flutter.
Words cannot describe how much I love this piece, so much that I named it Where Silence Breaks. Creativity is an outlet for expression through color and composition. Sometimes we just need to let go, try new things, and think outside the box. It's something I'm working on. This explosion of extraordinary colors breaking through a very dark base is my way of saying there is beauty even when you cannot see it. You need dark to see light. I hope your week is full of light, and I wish for all of you to find a spark even when you feel like there isn't one. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. I love reading your comments and interacting with you, so let me know if you like this piece and what you would love to see in a future acrylic pour tutorial. If you want to learn my paint recipe for pieces like this and tips on how to use the blow dryer for Dutch pours, that tutorial will be linked next. I'll see you in the next one.